Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you're tuning in from, wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us for this special episode of the Polyhedra Show. So we are back, and today we're joined by two of the great minds in our leadership team. We've got Sam Pidden, our Chief Marketing Officer, and of course, we've got our co-founder and Chief Scientist, Zhihang Zhang. Today, very special episode. We are diving into zkGPT, an absolute breakthrough in making AI verifiable. So in short and in layman's, zkGPT is the first system to prove that a large language model like GPT-2 really generated an output without exposing the model itself. And the guys have used some new techniques, and I'll let them dive into that. And yeah, really, really cool. Not just about the math, it's about trust. And, you know, zkGPT is definitely paving the way for a future where anyone can verify the integrity of outputs, whether you're an individual or an enterprise, or yeah, just everyday applications. So thank you so much for joining us today, Zhihang and Sam.
Thanks, Tony. Great to be here. Hey, Jahan. Good to see you, man.
Hey, Sam. Yeah, good to see you.
Great. All right, let's kick this off. It's been a minute. Good to see you on a show again. Yeah, what have you been up to over the summer? Maybe just a quick kind of personal update for the community before we get into the deeper technical questions.
Oh, okay. I think it's good. And over the summer, we also have some new research and new technology, new products. And I think for general audience or for people who are not in our team, please just, subscribe our Twitter, and we will just post update every day. And we work hard to make the good product, good technology. And I also have some time spending on the cutting edge research. So I still work on zero-knowledge proof and AI safety. And today we will talk about our newest work, which is zkGPT, and that is also appeared in the top conferences.
Yeah, great. No, fantastic. Thank you for the update. All right, so let's start with zkGPT. When you present zkGPT to non-technical people like friends, family, how do you explain it in a simple manner?
Yeah, that's pretty easy. We just make the model, especially transformer or large language model, verifiable, the output verifiable. And it's easy to understand because currently, I think, just for people non-technical, they still use the large language model like GPT and other models provided by big tech. And the core question when you use this GPT is how can you verify the output or answer generated by this model? Okay, then we provide the technology to help you to validate or verify the output generated by the large models. So this is zkGPT, and we improve the efficiency of the technology. That's it.
Sure. No, thank you so much. Can you walk us through, and I think it's a little bit obvious, but can you please walk us through the motivation behind, the zkGPT paper? What problem are you fundamentally trying to solve?
Yes. So the fundamental question is the validity of the AI model, especially large models. Okay, how can we validate the output generated by the model, the large models? And this is a fundamental question. But we also have some challenge when we try to solve this question. Let me show you some of them. First, we know why it is called large model. Because it's pretty much. So if you want to generate proof for pretty large model, it's very difficult. To generate proof, you can imagine you need to do some like complicated operation, including exponential encryption. But how can we, generate efficient proof? That's a key question, a key challenge in this problem.
No, that makes sense. So onto that, like what limitations still exist in the paper, e.g. model size, floating point support, or training proofs that still need to be solved? Yeah.
I think you have listed a few of them. Okay, we build a framework to generate the proof for verifiable output for transformers, GPT-2 or large language models, but they still have some limitation, right? The first thing I think is the float point support. Currently we use zk and the floating point computation is unfriendly, so we just use a quantized model. Quantized model is fine. So many other AI papers prove that the quantized model can perform as good as the floating point model. But still there's some accuracy drop off. So we try to solve it by supporting floating point in the future. And beyond the output or inference validity, we also consider proof for training. Right? Because training is also important, and we can have some data audit. If I can prove something in the training process, I can generate proof for copyright. That's very important, but it's still it's still inefficient since training is more complicated than inference.
No, makes sense. Thanks for explaining that. If zkGPT is the academic prototype, what is Polyhedra's roadmap for turning it into a developer-ready product?
Yeah. Currently, I think it's a very early stage for zkGPT because we just conduct a cutting-edge research with a team led by me, and we published the paper on top conferences, and we just have a prototype, and I think we also have the GitHub Rebel. So some people who want to try, you can try it. And for product, I think it needs a long process, but we try to integrate with our existing tools in Polyhedra. So in the future, you can see our update.
Yeah, and could you explain what a product using this research would look like? I mean, there's been so much narrative even since ChatGPT 5 came out that it's the first time I've seen the mainstream kind of consensus questioning what model they're using on Twitter or LinkedIn. Could you explain how this research would be applied to a scalable product?
Sure, I think we can build the user-friendly tool or software, and then the model provider like OpenAI or Google, they can use the software and our tool to generate proof for the output, verifiable output. And from the, for general users, if you're curious about that, whether the model or model output is verifiable, you can ask the model provider like OpenAI or Google to generate proof for the output the large language model generates. But sometimes you need to pay for it, because proof generation is still expensive, but it's acceptable, because for general users, if you are happy about the output, you don't need query the proof. But if you are not satisfied, you want to know, okay, why is the output, is it correct, or it's really generated by the powerful model, then you can pay for the service to get proof. And if the model provider cannot generate the proof, they will be punished. I think that's a good model.
Yeah, it's that. I mean, this sounds like this is the missing layer, right? It sounds like we've rushed ahead with AI, just like we rushed ahead with cars before they had seatbelts, and any protection mechanism for safety. So, do you feel that this is a really important element, especially when it comes to enterprise and making sure models are operating correctly? Do you think this is a key component to that kind of infra stack?
Yes, I think that's a key point, actually. And if you search on Google, you will find so many people complain the model quality, and they think the model downgrade or whatever. Right? So many people complain, even if you talk with your friends, for friends who also use large language models. And this is a key issue, and we want to address this. And actually, it can also help users' product. We are users. We use large language models, but we pay for it.
Yeah.
The advanced model, especially from OpenAI, is very expensive, $200 USD per month. And you should know where did they get model? How the output generated by the model? Is it verifiable? I think that's your right. But privilege, don't such a rule. You just pay for service, and you cannot validate service. And obviously, it is not fair. Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, and that's the biggest issue, right? For the large language models, it's expensive to maintain, say, ChatGPT 5, right? Is that just for the kind of people just to make it a bit simpler? The OpenAI and these types of companies, they're trying to save money by downgrading the models. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. They have the motivation to save the money, downgrade your model, but they have received your paycheck.
Got it. Thanks, man. All right, back to a few more technical things. So with Polyhedra, how does the ZK PyTorch fit into this journey? Is zkGPT something that will run alongside our other research at Polyhedra?
No, actually, it's still in the same lab. So we have zkGPT, and that means we have some computation model. Then we can run our protocol to generate proof for verifiable output. But at the same time, for many models, they especially for large language models, they just use a high-level programming language. Yeah. And then if we want to generate proof, the better way is we have the compiler first, which is the zk PyTorch. So we will make it user-friendly. You just write the code like previous, and you don't need to change your style. You don't need to change code in PyTorch, and you don't know what is zk, what is cryptography. We can do this by zk PyTorch, and after zk PyTorch, we use zkGPT to generate proof, and we just make it a whole product for verifiable output.
That's very cool. I like the idea of when I have a robot, say I have a robot in my house, around my family, making sure that model is actually acting correctly. Is that something that you could see a use case for our technology in the future? Verifying robotics in the household.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Okay, back at it. How does Polyhedra plan to integrate zkGPT into our broader like zkML as a service?
Oh yeah, as I said previously, we are still in the early stage, but we conduct the cutting edge research, and we know how to generate proof efficiently, and we also have some experiments and prototype. But for product, we need some time to integrate all of these things and provide the the zkML as a service together for our customers. So if you're interested, just wait and wait for our product. Wait for
I think that's a big thing to mention. I mean, if you look at the TAM for AI safety and compliance, they say by 2032 about 10 to 20% of all of the AI TAM, which is total addressable market, will be going to AI, safety, privacy, and compliance. So I know our community is waiting and, waiting for product and waiting to see, big enterprise and momentum there. I just wanted to say, like, if this technology was easy, everyone would do it. And, we're very grateful for the time, energy, and effort that Jiaheng and RTC and the team, because Jiaheng, this is a process, isn't it? This particular technology to verify AI, it's can you maybe just explain how complicated it is to research?
Yeah, I understand. So, it's a big challenge. We spend much time even working on the research paper, and we still need some time for product, but we will try our best. Okay, and for different level users, we also have different plan, right? If your expertise in zk in cryptography, you already know something in zk and zkML, maybe we can have some. We have the open source repo, and you can try by yourself to do some tests. But if you don't know this, don't worry about it, right? We will provide a package, the friendly tool chain for general users. Okay, you just use it. Yeah. But
very cool.
Obviously, it takes longer time. Okay.
Yeah, but it's exciting. I mean, I can really see it. I can see that tipping point for our technology. So I have two more questions here, and then we'll get Tony back in to do some community questions. So what are the biggest hurdles? I know we've kind of touched on that, but what are the biggest hurdles to adoption? Is it latency, cost, developer experience, or ecosystem readiness?
Okay, I think that's a good question. And actually, I have to see all of them. If you want to build the real product, and you have to consider all these factors. Latency is important because people want to to check the verifiable output immediately if they thought about the output. And cost is also important because people can want the verifiable output, but they also need to pay for service because the computation is expensive. But for customers, cost is the price. They are very sensitive. So how to adjust the cost and the computational power. Right? And developer experience is also important. If the experience is good, then we will have very more developers, and we can develop our product, and we can do many things, and to have more versions, iterations, and to make it good. And ecosystem, of course, it's important. When we build a good ecosystem, then more people can contribute to the system, and we will have the better product.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you see a time where latency, do you see a time where latency will be kind of pretty immediate? Like, is there a time, do you have, in a number of years, do you think we'll be able to kind of run our Polyhedra technology across a model and pretty much get instant results?
Oh yeah, I think we cannot expect long latency. So
Yeah.
we will hope to have the short latency, but it also depends on the how to see. It depends on actually the consensus. So
Got it. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
do people really care about the verifiable output? Do they want to even pay for the service? If yes, okay, we will have we'll try to reduce the latency, and even for big techs, they know their customers care about these things, and they have to do many optimization to reduce latency. And we are here. Polyhedra will have the product, the tool chain, and the software to help them.
Do you think this is something that regulators will actually push to the models, just like in other industries? Like on the packet of chocolate, you need to mention there's sugar inside. Like do you think at some point our customers will be potentially the large language model rather than the end consumer?
Yeah, of course. I think that's a process, and
Yeah.
and I think the regulation and the government is also interested in this part, because they want to build the rules for language models, and they are the people who really care about the validity verifiable, because they are government. They have to guarantee the model has problems, and they also need to product users people's right. So
yeah, because in other industries, if this type of stuff happens, if companies say that they're using, in the food industry, if people say they're using ingredients that aren't correct, there's huge fines. The same in the finance industry, the same in other industries. So, it just seems like we're very early in AI still.
Yes.
And the final thing, like, what makes us? I mean, there's a lot of zk companies. There's a lot of companies focused on starting to talk about AI safety and compliance. What makes our team so special in this area?
I think I have answered this question many times. Every time when I in Polyhedra show, we have a wonderful team. We have the best zk researcher team compared to other zk startup. So we will know the cutting edge technology. We will have the best technology. I think this is our biggest stress. And then we also have the fast engineering team. So we try to push the product every day, and we try to have update as soon as possible to our customers and users in our community. So I think that's our advantage, and we can do this better. And also, we are good at zkML. Not only zk, we can also do something in AI and verifiable AI.
Yeah, fantastic, man. Okay, all right, Tony. That's the end of our piece finished. If you want to come in and ask a couple of community questions. I think you're on mute, Tony.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back in my corner. Yeah, that was really cool, guys. Thanks for the deep dive. And yeah, Sam, what you were just saying then about in other industries, I know in Indonesia, I've had friends here. It's like they say they're pouring an A-grade concrete, and then it ends up being substandard, and then walls have cracks, and it's actually quite dangerous. So it's like every other industry has these standards that I think we're going to see come through. And just a quick one, I've got a few comments that came through asking, can you verify if you're real or if you're AI? Can you wave? So to M. Devon, yes, we are real, and I'm going to verify that we are real. But awesome, guys. We've had a bunch of questions, over 600 from the community. So we'll dive right in. So first one is from Jude Marcus. Could you explain the trade-offs between proof size, verification time, and prover computation in zkGPT, and how Polyhedra balances these for real-world deployment?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. And actually, there's not too much trade-off, because the bottleneck or the big challenge I have mentioned previously is just the proof time. So how can you generate proof efficiently for a pretty large model like GPT? So that's a key issue. So if you can address this key issue, then actually I think you can sacrifice some verification time or proof size. But indeed, in our zkGPT, we have the very good proof computation, but we didn't do trade-off with proof size and verification time. That means we don't need to increase verification time and proof size. It's acceptable and it's normal. And for real-world product, we apply the same principle because proof time is a key challenge. So we will address this in the deployment, but at the same time, we also care about the proof size and verification time to make sure it is acceptable and that it's not too big or too small. I think that's okay.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense, man. And thank you for the answer. I know that you touched on this before briefly, but there has been a lot of excitement, obviously, around this paper and what it means. So this one comes from, and I've had a few questions like this, but I will point out Audiom, which asks, will zkGPT be open source for developers to integrate into their own products?
Yeah, this is our plan, right? And I think I also mentioned the process. I think maybe first we have some naive version. If you are experts, you know ZK and ZKML, you can try. Right? You can make your hands dirty. You can write some tiny code. And for other users, we also plan to open source, but we plan to open source the whole tool chain. You don't need to know the underlying technology, but you can still use it for verifiable AI. That's our plan.
Awesome. Exciting stuff. Very cool. All right, let's get one from Leoton. We always love questions from Leoton. Could zkGPT become a key security layer that stops providers from passing off other models' work as their own by forcing proof of the real model used? So I think he's talking about, like, some companies saying, oh, that use it as a wrapper and say, like, we're using GPT-4 to power, this part of our stack. Will zkGPT and I guess ZK in general be able to prove exactly what they're using?
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good question. Okay, if you understand what is a proof, I have explained briefly, and proof is that the output is actually generated by the model. And if you change your mind in another way, that means the proof itself is also the proof of the ownership of the model, because I can generate proof. That means I own the model, and it can also be treated as watermark. Okay, so that means it can prevent others from stealing the model because they cannot have the ownership of the watermark. Yeah, that's cool.
Totally. That's really, really cool. I mean, getting to protect your own IP, and like, especially if you're building out your own agents and your own models, being able to protect your IP that's a really, really cool cool use case. And I know for one, you guys talked about it before, but some of the models I use even for video generation and stuff, it's like one day, it's almost like at the start it was really, really good, and then progressively has become kind of worse and will hallucinate more. And then I'm wondering, I'm like, why was this so good yesterday and now it's not good today? And so it's and especially when you're paying for tokens, right? Like, you want to know, like, it's okay if it's a lower model, but like, I don't want to be paying top dollar if you're going to be using a like a lesser model. But so very, very cool, man. All right, what else have we got here? I think we've spoken about that one already. Okay, here's one from Callum T. Does zkGPT require a specialized ZK VM to run inference, or is it model agnostic in its approach to proof generation?
Oh, yeah, that's also a great question. We don't require ZK VM. Actually, it supports the general model, and it is the model agnostic in this approach to proof generation. And actually, if you combine zkGPT and ZK PyTorch, that means we can support any model. We do very compilation, then we do the ZK proof.
Awesome. Yeah, very, very cool. Awesome. hope that you love that answer, Callum T. All right, so let's move through it. Who's Metaverse Crypto? Very cool username. What does the zkGPT developer SDK look like in practice? Can a smart contract directly request and verify an output? And if so, how is the interaction modeled to minimize call data and verification costs?
Yeah,
Very
of course.
technical.
Yeah, I think the smart contract can, of course, verify the output because we just generate proof, and since the smart contract can validate the variance zk proof, they can also validate the specialized zk proof. That's okay. And the interaction, related to the call data and verification cost, we will try to minimize this, and by we reduce the proof size, and we also make the verification cheap for our proof.
Awesome. And I know we spoke a little bit previously about latency, but as it stands, on the models and the research that you're doing, what's the average proof generation time compared to regular AI responses?
Oh yes. Currently, I have to see if there's still some overhead compared to the regular response. But we can do the best. We have the fastest scheme, and we can generate one response, actually a few tokens. Or to make it simple, it's just one token, one answer. That's in 1 minute. Generative proof for Transformer or GPT-2. It's pretty fast, but it cannot, compare to the regular response, because regular response you can do faster. But the problem here is that you don't need to generate proof every time, right? If you are happy about the output, you don't need to ask a question. Oh, actually, you don't need to ask for the proof. Otherwise, you can ask for proof. So it's okay if the average generation proof time is slower than the regular response.
Right. Yeah, I know a lot of people that work in enterprise, and they're using private data sets, and they've spoken to me about we're looking at these agentic stacks and building out these processes, but a lot of these agencies are plugging in GPT or something, and they're like, we can't do that legally. Our company has said that we can't do that, so they're building kind of their internal models. Do you think that this will be a solution that enterprise will really want to adopt quickly, or more quickly than say than just the everyday user?
Yeah. I think they can have the quick adoption.
Yeah. I see the most value there because, like you said, a lot of people you don't need a proof for everything, but if you're working with especially company data or enterprise data, I can see that being really, really important. And I've had some friends who are trying to, they're talking to different agencies and stuff now, and I'm like, just talk to our team. We'll be able to get it built for you, or at least they can point you in the right direction, because if you do it without, then you're going to run into trouble. It's worth building on. You build on the good concrete, not the bad stuff. So this is a good segue from that. But in your opinion, which industries or applications, for example, healthcare, finance, or decentralized platforms, do you see zkGPT impacting the most in the near future?
I think the finance.
Finance?
Because you mentioned that we have the agents, especially agents for finance, and it's related to money. Okay, you have to operate on money for token, for cryptocurrency. So I think that's important for users and really care about verifiable. If you answer the wrong, if your answer is incorrect for some question, I think it's acceptable. But if you do some wrong operation in finance, it's big error. So people care about validity of the operation on finance.
Yeah, totally makes sense. I think it's in Korea. They have they have clinics now that are popping up that are 100% AI run, which is super interesting. I actually had to get some scans yesterday. I had a little tumble off my motorbike, and I was thinking about that. I was like, if there weren't any doctors here, I'd want them to have some some verification behind the scans before I walked out, just to make sure, that it was all good. But yeah, no, very cool, man. Very, very cool. Let's have a look here again. So many questions, and thank you, Novik 2-star for that question. Here's one from Ravirov. Are the verification proofs generated by zkGPT compatible with existing on-chain verification frameworks, or do they require a new proof verifier?
Oh, you don't need to have new proof verifier. As I mentioned, it's just a type of zero proof. And if you have such a verifier, you can validate any zk proof, then you can validate the proof for zkGPT. So you don't need to change your verifier. But if you want to do some optimization, I think you can have some new proof, new verifier. Sorry, that's okay.
Got you. Let's have a look here, because you actually answered a few of these. This has been great as we've gone through. Here's one from AI 3179. Is zkGPT's proof verification fully deterministic, or are there probabilistic elements that could affect consistency?
Oh yeah, I think for zkGPT, of course, it prefer the deterministic output because it's easier for proof generation. But it can also do the things for randomized or non-deterministic output, because there is a probability distribution. We can still use zk proof to prove such distribution, but that is more difficult than a deterministic output. We can do both, but deterministic we prefer.
Awesome, man. I'm just scrolling through some of these questions that I picked out, but you guys actually went through them pretty well. I mean, we've got questions about how does zk PyTorch lower the barrier for AI engineers to use zkGPT?
Yeah, actually, we just try to remove the barrier, so everyone who don't know zk or cryptography, they can still use the zkML and zk PyTorch, zkGPT. We will make it a toolchain, and you don't need to know the underlying technology. Just use it to make the output verifiable. That's how
it's just as easy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing, man. Super cool.
Right on, Tony. I think we need to wrap up now because we need to run to another meeting.
No worries.
Sure.
Thank you so much for taking the time, especially Zhenfei and Zhihang, sorry, and thank you so much, Sam, for taking the time out today. I know you guys have super busy schedules, and we've had a lot of comments come through. But guys, we can we'll jump on again and we'll do a Discord and we'll get into some more questions, because it's been about, I can see a few hundred questions here, so or just comments throughout this. But awesome, guys. Over 5,000 people viewed this one live, so thank you so much and have an awesome day.
Thanks so much, Zhihang.
Okay, you too. Bye.
See you guys next time. Bye.